You're going live?
Hi, we're live now.
Okay, fine. We are actually 2 minutes in. I think yes, 2 minutes. We will be going live very soon. I mean, we are already live, but we are going to be officially live in about just a few seconds from now. But so, in just to make sure that have we got all the technology in place? Everything's working fine.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see you are smartly dressed and ready to really take this whole thing by storm. So we are looking forward. Please bear with us. We are going to go live in like just a few seconds from now, exactly at 10 a.m. GMT here in London, United Kingdom. And we are super excited actually. I mean, there's so much we want to share. So yes, lots going in the preparation stage. So yes, we are also looking forward to all of you coming up with some insights as well. So we're going to have it quite interactive for all those who are with us at this particular point in time. Stay with us. We are going to go live in just a few seconds from now. My watch is showing 9:59, so I just want to make sure that we allow everybody to join in, and we can start giving some impact driven points. I think we are 10 on the dot, so we are ready. A very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you very much for joining us for this live event. We are live here on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and I believe even Twitter. So we are simulcasting at this particular point in time. But here's the thing, today we are going to share the top three qualities leaders must have. What are these leadership qualities which leaders must have? Why have we really chosen this topic? Because we note a lot of concern out there. There's so much concern out there with the uncertainties which are unfolding, as you and I know that, with the political uncertainties and everything else going on, there's new challenges which really come through. So how can you really um, how can you really move your compass back to north, as I would put it, and see that you are completely laser focused to ensuring that you achieve your goals and whatever you're doing. So before we go into these three leadership qualities, I just want to welcome my dear friend and business partner Soin Shah, who's back in Nairobi enjoying the lovely weather back in Nairobi, Kenya. I'm sure he's enjoying the weather out there, which is warm, although we have some sunshine here for a change. So here in London, United Kingdom. So over to you, Soin, for a quick hi and maybe a bit of ground rules. Maybe you can share.
Yes. Vijay, I must say it's a delightful day, very warm and sunny here in Nairobi. So, a very warm welcome to all of you out there in whichever part of the world you are in. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. First and foremost, I must say that please feel free to put in couple of comments and especially saying hi with the city and the country where you're coming from in the chat box. That will actually tell us where you're coming from, and it's actually it gives us a lot of juice to hear that you've joined us in from wherever you are. A bit of ground rules before we begin this session, because it's going to be a highly interactive session. So please, I would request you to take notes, abundant notes, because we will be sharing $1 million insights in this session, as we always do. And we always say that when you put these ideas and you take pen to paper, this is what you will carry and you'll remember. So please make sure you do take notes, and please always keep all the other devices closed so that we avoid any sort of distraction and we are fully focused, because focus is key. So without much ado, we are presenting on the top three leadership qualities that successful leaders must have. As we go along, I will be sharing the points which we'll be discussing at the bottom, and it will appear as a ticker. So be aware of that. And as I earlier said, it's going to be a very interactive session. So please be ready to type in the chat box down there. Over to you, Vijay.
Thank you, thank you. So, sorry if you see me looking at my right, my side of right. We got George Wasika. Hi, George Wasike, from Nairobi. We got Claire Moody from Newcastle, UK. Hi, Claire. Danson Degwa, and we also have Govinder Full from Nairobi, Kenya. I can see a lot of people from Nairobi, Kenya, but we've got somebody from here, Newcastle, United Kingdom as well. Welcome, everybody. Please go ahead, say hi. This is going to be interactive, and we are going to make an impact. We are going to make sure that we are not only going to add value, everybody adds value, but we want to give you certain tools. This is why we want to step up the game, and we want to give you some tools. Our mission is for you to take only a couple of points from here and practice, because practice is going to lead to mastery. The first leadership quality, I'm going straight into the leadership quality because your time is important. The first leadership quality: know your team. Now, there are two components to knowing your team. The first is building trust. And I'll just pass it over to Soin to throw out a question to you and see what you have to say as far as trust is concerned. Over to you, Soin.
Yeah, this is a very interesting one, and I would like us to give us a comment and share your views on how do you build trust with with the people who report to you and are your subordinates. This is very key in making sure that you're successful as leaders. So key question is, how do you build trust? And we will wait for your answers. As we wait, I would like Vijay to share a bit of highlight on the aspect of trust, which is clearly something that in some cases it's there, some cases it's half trust, some cases it's I think full trust is given. So over to you, Vijay.
Thank you. Thank you. Just a quick digression. Hi, Rebecca. Rebecca is a good friend and associate of ours, Rebecca Jenkins. We got Headley Lawrence as well, Lobo. Thank you for joining as well. Here's the thing: trust is the default currency. No matter what happens, we have to make sure that we have trust in place. Now, this is common. We all know, everybody talks about trust. But here's the thing: there are certain triggers which you need to really look into. And the first one that I want to share with you is being unbiased. Now, what do I really mean by unbiased? Is that you need to make sure that whenever you take views, make sure you take views of everybody, so that everybody is recognized and connected with you. Recently, just I think was it a couple of days ago, um, I was coaching this potential chair. He's becoming a potential chair. He's already a successful entrepreneur, and he was just asking me what he should be doing and how he should be going about. And the first and foremost is building that trust level, which is so important and so powerful. So the first point I want to share with you is being unbiased. But I want to hear from you as well what you have to say when it comes to trust. The second key point is upholding values. Now, here's what I want to share with you, and this is very important. Be with me on this point: success and happiness. Everybody thrives for success and happiness. But here's the thing: when you come across somebody who's breaching the values, and I would talk about integrity at this particular point in time. And I'll give you an experience a few years ago when I was buying a car. This car dealer sold this one particular car, which was fantastic. It was really good, and he said this has got absolutely no problem. And what happened is, I think after a few, was it a couple of weeks or so, and obviously it broke down. I took it to another mechanic, and he said that this car had some major problems and stuff like that. Here's the thing: this company, they may have secured a sale, but my point here is that when you don't uphold value, your reputation goes. So you have to be very careful when it comes to the value proposition, the values, your values. That is key. Whether it's ethics, whether it's excellence, whether it's execution, discipline, whatever your values are, integrity, we have to hold integrity, obviously. But any all your values, you have to make sure that you live fully with those particular values, not allowing anybody to violate. We've noticed companies, in companies where we have tried helping, that we've noticed some of the executives not rather misaligned with the values. So be very careful when it comes to values. So in over to you. I have a tendency of getting carried away, but carry on. By the way, Claire has said providing a safe space, extremely important. Claire, is to make sure that they feel safe, within an environment. They have that safety net within themselves, so they feel like family as well. It's like one, you're one with that particular company. So an extremely valid point. um
Yes.
and
The
same with
point from
Denson shared the same as well. I have a safe place, which is absolutely important and absolutely vital. Over to you, Soin.
Yeah, I think it's very clear, and also Danson has clearly said, make it a safe space, be approachable. This helps fear. As in fact, I was just reading the other day, and it's very interesting how you can actually gain much more through trust rather than fear. So this is again alluding to what we were saying earlier, and that is how speed of trust really reinforces and takes the company to the next level. The other aspect which we are talking about here is um, connection at a deeper level. Now, this is a very important one, and when we say connection, means understanding what are the issues facing a person, be it at the work, be it at home, and understanding and reading the mind. It's quite difficult, and allowing people to actually open up and come out clearly what are the challenges that they are facing. That kind of bond and that kind of connection, when it's struck at a very deep level, it clearly builds a lot of trust, and that's when things get done very quickly, because you sometimes you don't even need to communicate more than three words, and you are understood what you want to be done. So this is the kind of trust levels that we are talking about. The next
Just
point I would.
one point I want to bring here
Yeah.
is, George even mentioned something so important: be an honest person and a person of your word. Keep your promises no matter what happens. If you commit to something, keep your promises, keep your time, because that is so key to whatever you do. So that is one thing that you need to really look into. And finally, listen with empathy. I know Soin mentioned about it, but connect deeply. And it's not out of research that Harvard research says this, or it's important to have those research and the facts, but it has to come from within as well. So it's very important that you listen with empathy and have that, that skill set, which is going to really connect at the deeper level. Over to you, Swin.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I mean, this is a very highly interactive topic, and this event really, you can see the chat space is full of comments from Rebecca, Catherine Parson, Govinda Pool, George Wasike. I mean, these are, I mean, all of them are alluding to some of the points that are going a long way towards building trust. So I think we will now move on to the next one, Vijay.
Yes, 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 yes. Catherine, like you mentioned, authenticity is very important as well from your particular conversation as well. And yes, Claire, I know you say that people don't understand empathy, and that is one key aspect which is so important. And again, that's a skill set that needs to be developed. And we are going to do. We've already done one on empathy, but we are going to do more in the forthcoming series. Um, I just want to move to the next point. Soin, over to you.
Yeah, so I think knowing your team, we have addressed only one part, and that is building the trust. We will move to the second part, which is driving performance as a successful leader. Now, this is clearly something that needs to be worked on, and that's need to be done on a day-to-day basis, by the hour, by the minute. So I think I let Vijay start off on that topic, and
Yes,
then
yes,
I will add on.
yes, yes. Driving performance. This is why we wanted to touch the trust part first. And then when it comes to the driving of performance, if you got the trust element in place, driving performance then is more to do with making sure that you're influential, having that influence, making an impact as well, and making sure that there is that insightfulness and the resources that you have within your team as well. But here's another point that I want to talk about when it comes to driving performance is making sure that you have the measures in place. And I want to share an example. So there was this one particular company, and what happened is they had measures in place. For example, and I'll just give you this example, that they had a sales target. So they had one of these sales targets that within the next quarter we are going to reach $2 million or $3 million, whatever. It was a small company, so they wanted that particular target in place. But when feedback came in after 2 3 months, the target was not met. But here's the thing: the meaning behind the targets was not properly explained. In other words, the executive was accountable and was responsible for making sure that he reached that particular milestone, did not meet that particular target, and the explanation he gave was not up to that particular standard. This is where leadership comes into play. This is where clarity comes into play. Clarity is where the power is. Communicating with clarity is where you will get an impact. So be very clear on how you go about with it. The company went on struggling because the leader said, "All right, fine, I'll give you another 3 months." But how long do you keep on giving this, rolling on the 3 months? And it's burning out the company in some shape or form, directly or indirectly, the oxygen of the company, because at the end of the day, cash is oxygen, and it was hampering other moving parts as well within the organization itself. So be very careful when it comes to this aspect of driving performance. Over to you, Soin. I know the chat box keeps on. We've got more points as well, but carry on, Soin. Over to you.
Yeah, I think we've talked about driving performance in terms of influence, and that carries a lot of weight into making sure things get done. Driving influence is a major aspect of leadership. Leadership is actually making sure influence is in place. The other aspect is driving with impact, and this is a very key aspect of making sure results are driven. So, one of the aspects that we always say that is you need to show to the people who you're leading is what kind of impact, what is the kind of results that you are able to drive, and showcasing them is a very important feature. When a person sees what's being delivered, they will follow suit, and together is always more, and you keep on driving much more impact through this kind of leadership. I will talk about one more point, which is a serious aspect that needs to be discussed, because certain leadership always fails in this aspect, and that is focus. I mean, we have seen so many areas where leadership fails when they are actually distracted and go into another sphere when a certain aspect has not been looked into more deeply, and how do we put it, not exhausted thoroughly. So this is one of the things that we say needs a lot of clarity and focus that needs to be there to drive this performance. Over to you, Vijay.
Thanks. So I just wanted to point out. I know George has written and clear the question that you are asking about empathy itself, and the George is talking about connected with emotional intelligence. It's important, but here are a couple of quick tips that I can. By the way, I've done a video on emotional intelligence. I think I did a live event. It's got four core points, but I just want to make this just to give you a little bit of context and perspective to this. Is that emotional intelligence, when we are looking at empathy itself, it's like talking in the same frequency. For example, if you got a sales department and you got a finance department, the frequency might change slightly depending on what the environment, what the circumstance is. Similarly, when it comes to listening with empathy, and we're not talking about active listening, we are going deeper within empathy itself, is connecting the feelings as such. So, how do you really do that? You have to fully be immersed. You should not only listen actively, but you should develop the skill of how you can really connect at a deeper level, and pick up on the feelings as well, being in the shoes of the other person. So I just wanted to wrap it up in this particular first session, but very important point. Let's move to the second one, Swin.
Yeah, the second one is a very interesting one, and I love this one because it's actually a thing that we need to understand and actually digest. And the question here is uh, leadership. Leadership is not about title. Now, my question here is to everyone in this audience, in this forum. Please feel free to put in your views. My question here is: do you agree with this? So please feel free to even just say yes or no. You can justify if you want to, but the question is a very clear cut question, and that is: do you agree that leadership is not about title? So as we
Thank you.
wait, I'll ask Vijay to
Yes, yes.
go deeper into this
Yeah.
aspect.
At this point, I'm so touched with all these insights which we are getting from you as well. So I really appreciate all your comments and what you have really participated so far, because that opens up a new level of dialogue altogether. So thank you very much. And here's the thing: leadership is not about title. Now again, like what Suin has mentioned, you can just type in yes or no however you feel or whatever you feel. But here's my take: titles, fame, money, you know, everything is actually passing. What is lasting is our wisdom, what we are sharing, our humbleness, our connectivity, all the soft skills that we are talking about. That is going to be lasting. Those are the footprints we are putting, we are leaving behind for the next generation as well. So that is my take: is that leadership is purposeful. It's not about even goals. I mean, okay, it's important to have goals. I'm not saying don't set goals. It's everybody has plans and goals and everything, but this goes a step further, where we have this deeper purpose. We've got a different level of meaning altogether, from that completely macro level. And when you really connect to that particular purpose itself, what's going to happen is you will become a purpose driven leader itself, who's really out on a mission. Look at leaders like Elon Musk, or who are completely changing the game in the breakthroughs in science, in medicines as well. And we know what's coming in the next gen. It's completely blowing everybody's mind with the convergence of technologies. It's completely changing everything, and it's going to make it more efficient, more cheaper. I mean, if you look at a mobile phone 10 years ago or 15 years ago it was quite expensive, or 20 years ago it was even more expensive. But now, as technology develops, as new competition comes in, as new innovation is coming through, and creativity and everything's coming through with artificial intelligence, you can see that the steps which have been taken is more convenient for all of us. That means, so what does it mean as far as leadership is not about a title? It's about being humble. It's about having that connectivity. We Soin and I, we back in Nairobi, when I flew back in Nairobi, we met some two mega industrialists, and one industrialist, he was full of anxiety, and he was quite busy, and he was always like under pressure. That's what we saw. But the other one, and both are successful, the other one was completely calm, and he had what I call centering, within, that self-centering and that self-mastery within himself. And he was completely calm, and he said, look, challenges are going to come, but we know, I mean, we've gone through challenges in the past as well, but it's all right. I mean, life has to go on. And so my message to you is that it has to be that. And again, I go back into happiness and success again, because it's so important. When you see a smile in the face of somebody whom you are helping, it could be even a small person. I mean, it could be a person who may not have those titles, but at the end of the day, when you really connect and when you see that smile in some of these people, that's where the depth of enrichment comes in. That is the connectivity which I'm talking about. And those impact points are going to last a long time. And like William Barclay said, that never forget, yeah, who gave you. I mean, I'm putting it in my words. Never forget who gave you, and never remember whom you. I mean, sorry, never forget uh, from whom you received, and always remember those who gave you. So in other words, that if you get something, make sure that that recognition and appreciation is there for a longer period. But if you help somebody, I mean, it's fine, you've just helped, but move on, and that is going to really enrich you. That is what is the enlightening for leaders without any title. So in over to you.
Yeah, I think, thank you, Vijay. I would always say that a title does not define a leader. And the other aspect that I want to elaborate is that, and this is a statement that I would like to take up. And a leader, basically, without a title, is better than a title without the ability to lead. So you can imagine what I'm trying to talk about. I mean, most of the leaders which I've seen, they are leading without titles. They are doing things that are not even in their portfolio, I would say. So they basically they 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 they're running with their using their heads, and they listen with their hearts. So this is something that really takes these things to the next level, because when you see a leader who is on the run and he's making decisions with his head, and he's also listening with his heart, you know that this is a born leader. And this is very important. I mean, in all this, yes, Vijay talked about humbleness, being proactive. It's all part of that. Another important aspect for leaders is love what you do. If you don't like what you do, and you're being forced out of the bed to get to where there's a title waiting for you to serve, I think pretty much you're going to have heartburn.
uh,
So I
yeah.
think it's. I think the other aspect is there are so many leaders, but you sometimes empathize with them, because either they are, I would say, they're sick, because they clearly just having the title and they want to serve, and that's where you find that we have so many sick leaders And really speaking, they're actually holding certain positions or titles, which need to be filled by the real leaders out there. So, in my
Yes.
view and my opinion, purely leadership is nothing about titles. Over to you, Vijay.
Thank you, Soin. I'm unconscious about time as well. But
Yeah.
yes, look, Dalmas, you agree, Anna, Nisimio, Naismoi. I'm sorry about my pronunciation. You agree, Danson, George Vasika, all of you agree that leadership is not about a title. So it's very important. But you have to look at the deeper meaning behind the core of all this. Now, let's jump ship to the last quality because this is an important quality. And so, do you want to share that?
I just want to just add to the aspect of leadership is not about title. There is
Sure.
one writer who has really elaborated a lot on that, and that is Robin Sharma. I clearly remember going through his books, and it's very elaborate. And I would strongly urge people who sometimes don't like that kind of book, but I think please do take time to read that one. We will go to the next one, and that is a very interesting one. I think this is again going to be very interactive, and I would want everyone to put in their comments. So basically, the third aspect of having, having the leadership qualities that a leader must have, and that is accepting failure. I mean, as a successful leader, should you be accepting failure? Now, this is very deep, and you must think insightful and reflect whether you should accept failure as a successful leader. Please feel free to put in your views, your comments. They are valuable to us, even a yes or a no. And if you elaborate, well and good, fantastic. We would love to hear from you. And I can see our chat box is clearly alive with so many of these comments. So please add on. Uh, this, as I always say, it gives us a lot of juice.
Mm.
Uh, Over to you, Vijay.
Yes, reflecting on my own self, if we are looking at a 5 year horizon as well, I have made many errors as well, negligence as well. And, we can call it failures in some shape or form, although I love calling it outcomes, though negative outcomes, but I call it outcomes. But here's the thing, if you look at J.K. Rowling, or if you look at Abraham Lincoln, or if you look at even Elon Musk at some, in some shape or form, or look at Steve Jobs, or, all these leaders, at some point, they failed. And here's a question. In fact, I want to ask this one question. I know Claire mentioned that a title is something to hide behind. Yeah, and many do that. And you're very right. Yeah. So here's the thing is that what was I talking about? So what I wanted to really bring out when it comes to this failure aspect is that you will see multiple elements. If you're climbing a mountain and if you slip and you get hurt, some may react and go down the mountain, but there are others who will keep on climbing the mountain. So it depends on how resilient you are. This is very important because you need to be resilient. And just like a tree, if there is a storm, and if the roots are strong, what's going to happen? The tree is going to sway, but it won't be uprooted so long as the roots are strong. Similarly, if your vision, if your mission, if your purpose and your values, these four components, if you are strong with them, what's going to happen is you will be able to weather any storm, depending on whatever the circumstances, whatever it is. We had COVID, we still have COVID, but we have other uncertainties folding as well. So imagine the impact it is making. And every failure, and here's something which Albert Einstein said very nicely is failure is success in progress. Failure is success in progress. That's what Albert.
It's, we, we kind of lost. Yeah,
Yeah,
Vijay,
am I
sorry.
back? I
Yeah.
apologize for that. Yeah, it was just, I think, a small glitch. But I can see the chat box is still going on with a lot of chat. Claire is there. Harry Muchangi, hi Harry. We learn a lot from failures. Yes, Paresh, our good friend Paresh. Yes, assuming failure is a metric at all, success usually making those 99. All right. Yes, George. I prefer to refer to failures as lessons. Absolutely important. And Dalmas, it enhances trust and accountability. This is what it is all about, my dear friends. You are absolutely spot on. But here's the thing, there are four quadrants. You see, one thing is, and I just want to touch this very quickly. You have a plan, you have a strategy, you're so excited, it could be even your department or your progress in your career, whatever it is. So you have that plan, you got your strategy, you got everything, and then you take the action. So you take massive action, whatever you do, all the activities and everything, and then what happens, you get the result. The fourth quadrant is where you have to be very careful, and that is doubt. Do not doubt your own ability. What do I really mean? It means do not lower your standards if you do not get the same outcome. So, what do you really need to do? You need to tweak your approach. And I think Soin will give you a metaphor on this, which will help you better. But be very careful. This is where many, uh, they sort of slip from their progression because of that particular doubt. Yes, we have to be more cautious. I got a my car got stolen from my house here in London as well. So whenever I have to, if anything to do with the car, I'm double cautious about it. It can happen, it's one of those things which happens. But my point which I'm raising is that doesn't mean that you don't take risks. You have to take risks, but take bite-sized risks. And if you're a business owner, this might help you. Here's what you do. You need to have the sort of burnout, whatever your cash burnout is. If you have a 6 month cash burnout, and I'm just giving you my small sort of, it all depends on your risk appetite and risk threshold. But you need to come up with that particular chunk which you are comfortable with to take those bite-sized risks. And Soin will explain about the logic bit and the gut feeling. So over to you, Soin.
Yeah, I think in my view, failure is all about lessons learned, and I can see a lot of comments in the chat, and it's about, of course, being able to deliver per expectations, and then not achieving that expectations. But the most important lessons to be learned from this is never give up, never. I stress upon this. Uh, the best example here would be when a child is learning how to walk. I mean, do they give up? I don't think so. So leaders should never give up on what they have dreamt. And this is where even another analogy comes to my mind, and that is a simple one. When you are learning to ride a bicycle, you give it a one attempt, and let me tell you, myself, I have injured myself, I've raised myself, I've broken my hand, I mean, a number of times, but we still get up. So the bottom line, what I'm alluding to is, make sure when you fall down, have the courage and the strength to get up. This is key of leadership. Don't give up on your dreams. Over to you, Vijay.
Thank you, thank you. And Danson, like you say, how do you define failure? Not being able to deliver per expectation. Look, here's the thing. This is why you need to be proactive. Spending 80% of your time on solutions and 20% on the challenge itself. So if the expectations are not Matt, spend 20%, but look into what you can really do. What have you learned? How can you appraise yourself? Best way is asking the right questions. When you ask the right questions, questions will lead you to intelligence. Knowledge is getting the right answer. So asking those questions within yourself, and you will see that you will start elevating to another level. Another point I want to address this, and again, for anybody who's interested in having a free strategy session, I'm sure Soin's going to share a link. Network with the right people who are going to help you to elevate. So be very careful about whom you hang around with as well, as I put it, in the business world itself. So what I'm trying to say is that make sure your standards are always raised, and make sure your thinking is always stretched as well, coming out of the comfort zone as well. There was a time Soin and I, we were like, should we really do a live? How is it going to be? But we have now, you step out of the comfort zone, and we are doing the live events, and we love it. We make mistakes, yes, we are not perfect, but at the end of the day, we have to really stretch ourselves, move to another level. I want to leave a final story, if you may, and this is going to help you. So there was this business person who sort of grew his stores into many. And by the way, this credit goes to Nido Kuben, who's a fantastic speaker. And I'll put it in my own words. So he had many, he because of his honesty, and because of people, seeing him as a reputable person, he grew, and he built quite a few stores. And what happened is, one day he fell ill, and in the hospital, so he had three children, two sons and one daughter, and he gave each one of them, he wanted them, one of them, to take over this particular whole sort of business. So he gave each one of them $1 bill, and he said, just go out there, and I want to see this room to be filled, just filled with love, sort of thingy. So how can you fill this room? So the first son went, the first son came back, and he said, so the father asked him that, what did you do? And he said, the dollar bill that you gave, I went to a friend of mine, I went to the barn, and I got two stacks of hay. And he sort of, sort of just put it all over the hay, and obviously the hay settled down on the floor. So the second son, and he said, what did you do? And he said that I went to the Sears store, and got a pillow for $1, which was on discount. And he ripped it off, feathers flew, but again they settled down as well. And he asked the daughter that, what did you do with your $1? And he said, look, Dad, I took 50% of that, just 50% of that particular $1, and I invested, just like what it's been said, that you invest that 50%. I took another 30 cents out of that particular $1, and I gave it to charity and all that. And another 10 cents I gave it to another army charity as well. So she was left with only 10 cents, 10 pennies. And here's what she did. She said, I went back to the store, to this one particular store, and I bought two items. And she took out a matchstick. She lit the matchstick. From the other pocket, she took out a candle, and she lit the candle. And the whole room lit up. My dear friends, you are the light, you are the hope, you are the energy, because light in itself is energy. And what you can do is to make sure that you have that highest level of energy. Never lose hope, no matter what happens. And there are certain traumatic circumstances which come through our lives as well, but we have to pass through that, because just like Marlon Brando says, that life goes on. You have to make sure that you need to move on, whatever the circumstances. And we've heard of many cases, I don't want to mention all of them, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to say, is that make sure, just like the candle, that hope is there, the light is there, the strength is there, the excitement is there, the energy level has to be high, not to fizzle out. from whatever your goals are, whatever your milestones you want to achieve, whatever your purpose is. Have that excitement within yourself. So that's what I wanted to really wrap up. But yeah, so in over to you.
Yeah, I think Vijay, that was excellent elaboration, especially on how to actually emanate your leadership skills and bring light when it's all dark. And another aspect that we always look at is when we are in a boat and it's very dark out there. I mean, where do you look up to? We always want to know, we want to reach somewhere, and when we don't know how to reach there, what do you do? So I always say, look up north, look up, and look up on the skies. The stars will tell you the direction, and this has been there for ages. People have been using the stars to direct them. So I mean, of course, you might think I'm hysterical, but what I'm trying to say is look up and think and reflect and take those calculated risks. Take your calculated risks, and the direction itself will come out when you're going along the way. Take bite-sized risks. That's what Vijay calls them. So when you are on your leadership journey and you're taking those risks, I can assure you, no mountain can be unsurmountable. So, with that, I think we have clearly discussed the three key aspects about that leadership must have in this day and age. This is a new year, and I always say that we need to approach the challenges that are going to come our way in a very different way. And the only way we can do that is the way we build ourselves in terms of attitude towards leadership. With that, I think we have had a fantastic session. In fact, I must say that we enjoyed the real interaction from all of you viewers. I must thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And this actually gives us much more impetus to keep on delivering these sessions. And I think I want to say a big thank you to all of you out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So, I just want to add a couple of things here. Just like what Claire mentioned earlier, we are going to do another session which is going to cover emotional intelligence and empathy. But there's another exciting session that we want to give you, and that is how can you really detect signals, that forward thinking? How can you be ahead of the curve? So, we're going to share some other live events as well moving forward. But anybody who's interested in a strategy session, I think Soin's shared a link. But look, we really wish the very best for you. We know that you are going to prosper. If you have been on this particular live event, we know for a fact, we are certain that you are in the right path of growth. Anything we can do to help, we are there to help, because that is our intention, that's our mission, that's our purpose. We want to make sure that we impart as much knowledge which is going to help you to move forward. With that, I'm going to say thank you very much. God bless you all, and we will see you in the next event. Thank you very much. Bye for now.
Santi.